Hello everyone, welcome back to the full stack web development course. So in the previous lecture we were retrieving the data from the backend. We are retrieving the um, questions list, and we have also done asking question, as well as we have retrieved the question from the database, as well as we have displayed that with some random values. But in the previous lecture, if you have went through after asking a question like something, so after reviewing my question, we got an error. So this error is due to, we will just here I have messed with something in the Redux. So if you guys have seen that in the data, actually the payload which we have sent from the backend is nothing but, it doesn't contain a data. It just contain a message for us such as the data has and the question has been posted successfully. So if I just go to the server program, let me just go to the controllers in that questions. If you have seen, this is the ask question controller. In here you can see which we have done in the JSON part. We have just given a message like posted a question successfully. So if this is the data in the payload which the action gives us to the Redux store, then if we push this data to the main state, then the order will be collapsed, because in the state we have to contain values like, so let me just open the main bar. In here you can see, sorry, let me just close this. In here in the equations list, we have to conceive data like an array of, sorry, object of arrays, sorry, an array of objects. So we do need to have objects, and the objects might have all the variables, but instead of having all these objects, if you have some message like a string, then definitely it will throw an error. That's what happened here. Here we don't want to push the data to the store, because after completing the, let me just open the action first. So if you can see, after asking a question, we have just fetched all questions, we have just dispatched fetch all questions action. Since we have called this function, after retrieving after posting a question, it will fetch all the questions which have been posted successfully. So we don't need to push the latest question to the store like what I have done in here. We don't need to do that. We can just do the entire thing again. So that's how we can retrieve the data from the front end. So if I just ask a question now, a random question now, it shouldn't throw an error for me. It will automatically add at the base. You can see it is now good now. So the next thing what we are gonna do is nothing but, I'm just going to post my answer. So to do this, we'll first jump into the backend part. So let me just close this console. So first, in our way, we are first dealing with the backend part, and then we are integrating with the front end. That's how we are going. So we will go with the same way. First, I have to create a route. For that, I have to create a middleware in here. I'm just going to use app.use. In that, I'm just going to have a question, sorry, answer, and in this answer I'm just going to have an answer route. Sorry, I'm just going to name as answer routes, and this answer route is gonna be, no, this file is not yet created, so first we will just create it. Before that, let me just import that particular function from that routes. This is gonna be inside routes slash, the file name is supposed like this, answer.js. so first we will create these answers. So we will go to the routes, we will create a file called answers.js like so, and in here we're gonna just create the same thing. So first we will import the server for express first. Sorry, here I got a typo because I do have double I's here. So import express from express, and then I'm just going to import controller like answer. So this controller is not yet created. We will create that answer post answer controller, which is going to be from dot slash, I think it's dot slash controller slash. We will leave this as answers.js. So, and then we're just going to have a const router is going to be like from, sorry, this is going to be equal to express dot router. This is going to be a method, and then the router dot. So there is something called as patch. Patch is also a type of request which is used to update the database. So we have used get and post so far. So you for posting a question we have used the post method, sorry, request. You may ask me why we do use to patch, because we are just posting a new question, we have used a post. In that case we are creating a new record in the database or in the schema, but in this case now we are posting a new question answer, but we're just updating the database, because if we go to the database in the record of questions, you can see we do have the answers as the same array in the question. In the same question we're just having, sorry, in the same record we do have the question as well as answer. So answer is not a separate thing, so that's why we are just going to use patch is used to update a particular record in the database. So that's it. So the URL may go like this: post slash id. This id is gonna be like, which we have already used id in the URL in React. You may come up with the same syntax there also. This id is nothing but the id of the particular question number. So this id is like, let me just go to the app, let me go back. So if I just click this function, you can see here's the id for this particular question, and this is the same id for the particular question. So this is the id which we are going to get from the database to, sorry, from the front end to detect the particular record in the database. So here we will just use this post answer controller, and we will just export this. Just going to export default router, sorry, router, like so. And then let me just close this, and then we will create a new file here called answers.js, and in here we have to write a method. First we will just import mongoose from, sorry, mongoose from mongoose, and then we're just going to import the question schema from the model. Sorry, this is questions, this is going to be from model dot slash model slash questions.js. const, so the function name we have given is nothing but const, but first let me just export this function. Export const post answer, which is going to be equal to an asynchronous function, because we're just dealing with the database which has been already deployed. So a asynchronous function with request and response, and const id is going to be renamed as underscore id, So it's like we have just renamed the id which we are retrieving from. If I just open this answers, you may see this is the id which is gonna be equal to this id. We are just renaming that to underscore id. So in here we will just have request.params. Params is nothing but the id present in the parameter. So this url, the part of this is nothing but the part of the url. The rest of the thing after the domain name is nothing but the params. So if you think like we do have, if the url goes like this, facebook.com/post/id, then facebook.com is the domain name. The after the domain name part is nothing but the params, and in that param specifically we are just getting the id part, and we're gonna use that id part to calculate in the backend. So we will just get the id, and again we will get number of answers because we need to update the answers, because if a new answer has been posted, we have to update the number of answer. So answer body, which is nothing but the content of that answer, and user answer, which is nothing but the user who has answered that particular question, and this is gonna be a request.body. These things are going to be from request.body. So and then we're just going to have, first we have to check that value, that id is a valid id from mongoose. So there's a method called mongoose dot types dot object id. We will just find is that the valid object id, because in MongoDB there is a object id for every objects or every arrays in there. So let me just show what are that. So we are just passing that id, we are just checking is it a valid id first. So if it is not a valid id, so that's why I have used a not symbol here. So if it is not, then I'm just going to return this function. I'm not going to proceed further. res.status of 404, and we are just going to say this is not a valid question, because if this is a valid question, then there must be an id for this question, which we are going to use in the url. And then first let me just show this id in the database. So we will go to the mongoose, and in here you can see this is nothing but an object id. And if there is an array also, as of now there is an array, there is no valid array, every upvote and downvote as well as question tags. So you can see this question tag in here. So if there is an object in if there is an object in mongoose, then there will be a specific id corresponding to that. So we are just checking is it a valid id. So after checking that, we have to proceed with our function. So what we are going to we're just going to have a try catch block, and inside the try block we're just going to say const updated question is gonna be equals to await questions is nothing with the schema dot find by id and update. So this method is used to find a record using the specific MongoDB id, because this id is only available for this specific record, and every record has its individual ids. So we're just going to find a record by just with this id, and then we are just going to update that specific record. Especially, so we have to pass this id, and the second parameter is nothing but a query. So we have to write a query to update to use the update functionality. So the second parameter gonna have something like a property called add to set. I will explain what this add to set. First, let me just conclude this query. So this answer is gonna be equal to answer body. So we will first pass this answer body and user answer and comma user id, which is going to be equals to request.user id. In the request which we are receiving from the front end, it will have an user id in case of a post as well as a patch request. If it is a post or a patch request, then it might have the user id of the user who sends that particular message. The user id is nothing but the id which is present in the user schema. So if we go to the user schema, in here you can see this is the id. So this id we will be received in here and we will store it in the user posted, sorry, in the answer array. So first, so what this query means actually, so add to set is not consider answer. In answer is nothing but array. You can see answer is nothing but an array. So we have to add, this is nothing but going to be an array of objects. So we're just passing our first object in here. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to set the value for this answer, but I'm just going to add a value to that specific answer. So I'm not just updating the answer, I'm adding a new value to this answer because answer is an array. I'm not going to replace that array, I'm just going to add a new value or append a new value to that array. So that's what I have done in here. So in here I have just passed body as well as user answer as well as user id as values. So that's what it means. So if there is an error so far, so first we will just send a response to the front end as status is going to be 200, which means okay, and then just going to send the JSON of updated question. So if we got any error in the meantime, we have to send res.status of 400, which means an error. JSON of, we will send the error to the front end. So far we have done everything. We have successfully written the logic to post a answer in the backend, but we are just giving a redemption to this answer array. But what about this number of answers? We have to update this number of answers. We are not just calculating it from the answer, but we have to update this number of answers. So that's what I have received from the front end. So I haven't used it in this query because we couldn't use it in here. So to use that, we're just going to write another function. We can write the logic here itself, but I don't want to do that. We are just going to do it in here. So here we will be just first writing a function which is going to be equals const update. We don't want to export that because we are just going to use it in here. So questions, this is going to be equal to an async because we are just going to handle the backend, underscore id and number of answers, like so. And in here what you can do, we are just going to have a try catch block because since we are dealing with backend or database, if there is an error in the meantime, it will just be thrown and we can catch that. We don't want to crash our application. So we're just going to use this questions schema. Here we're just going to find the find by id and we are going to use the update. So in here first let me just pass the id to find the record, specific record, as like in the same here, but instead of using add to set property, we are going to use set property. I will explain what this difference between add to set and set. First, let me just complete this query. So we're just going to change this number of answers. So we're just going to change this number of answers. So the answer is going to be number of answers. So set will just directly replace this number of answers with the new value which we have given. But add to set is like we don't want to replace the entire array. We just need to update that array, or we have to add a new value to that specific array. So that's what add to set means. But set is completely a different thing. We're just going to replace that value. In this case, number of answers is nothing but a number value, so we don't want to just so we can just update the value. We don't want to add a new value. If it is an array, we have to add a new value. So that's it. If there is an error, we will send res.status of 200. So in here there is no res because we don't have a res here, but because we don't send response in here. So we will just console.log that specific error if we do have any errors. Console log error. And that's it. So we will use this function in here. So we have to pass parameters like underscore id and number of answers, like so. So now with this we complete the backend part. So now we will just try to integrate that with the front end. So we will go to the first we would like to write the API. So we would like to write the API first. So first let me just export const post answer, which is gonna be equals to id comma value, which in turn is gonna be equals to API dot API means nothing but the URL, the localhost 5000 URL, and then we're just going to use a patch method or a request. In here we're just going to say answer slash post slash. So here I think we have to format the specific ID. So to format we will use backticks. If you have watched the previous lectures, we have used many place backticks, and we would like to use the dollar symbol as well as the curly brace, and we would like to add this ID, and then we will send value as a body. So I think sorry, we don't need this value. We're just going to send number of answers comma answer body as well as user answered. And we will just pass this number of values as well as rest of the things as a body in here inside the array. So now we have done everything. So we have done the API part. Now let me just close this. So before closing this, let me just make sure the URL is correct or not from the backend. So we will go here. So it's the same thing. So let me just close this. I don't need this anymore. Let me go here, and now this request is now okay with me, so I'm just going to use this request in the actions first. So in here uh, we will go to the questions. In here we will write a function export const post answer, which is going to be equals to answer data async of dispatch. So this is the same syntax which we have used previously, and the answer data is going to be like, first let me just destructure this answer data because we have to retrieve the ID from there. So first let me just say ID is comma number of answers. So these are the same things which we want to pass in here. So let me just copy this entire thing and let me just paste it down here. So this thing is nothing but called object destructuring. We are just destructuring the answer data. Answer data is now answer data is nothing but an object. So let me just change this to capital D. So here we're just going to send the data now to the backend. We're just going to use that API which we have written. Await API dot post answer, which is gonna be ID comma number of answers comma. Let me just paste this and we will remove this things. So we have provided the parameters for this post answer. Now we are just going to retrieve the data from the backend and we will just dispatch that thing to the store. So this action is like post answer. So the payload goes like this. The payload must contain this data which is going to be from the database, and we going to have the dispatch of fetch all questions. So here's a typo. So you can see you may see in here after fetching after asking the question, we have also used fetch all questions. Here also we're just going to use fetch all questions because after retrieving the after posting this answer, we won't get the entire record. So we don't want to increase the size of the array by keep on adding the records. We will just retrieve the entire record by just rerunning this function. So that's what we have used that. So I think these things ought to be inside a try and catch block, and let me just put everything inside that. So in here we will catch the error first, console.log. Here we're just going to have the error. So then now we have completed the action part. We will just now move on to the reducers. We will go to the questions reducer. In here we will write another action type here, which is gonna be like post answer. We will just replace this value. We will just replace this question with answer like so. So make sure the spelling matches the exact spelling in here, because this spellings won't throw an error, because this is just simply a string. Since this is a string, it won't throw any error for you. So you have to be careful, very careful. It won't throw an error, but the data will be missing. So that's what it's good quality. So now we will close this. Now, where do we actually have to trigger this post answer action? We have to trigger this post value action in the while we are posting this post your answer. While I'm clicking this submit button, the answer, this function has to be triggered. So we will go there. So where it is going to be pages, questions. In there we do have questions details. So in here, where's my form? You can see this is my form. So here let me just do an on submit. This is gonna be equals to handle POS ans. This is nothing but handle post answer, which is gonna be a function. Let me just copy this and paste it down here. Const, so it's going to be equals to an arrow function. So first we need to write first we are going to need use state variable for this text area. So we'll make sure the use state has been imported, use state, and we will come down in here. We will create that use state variable. Sorry, we will just remove this. We do have the shortcut. In here we will just change the value of answer body. This is going to be the thing. So we don't need to name it as body. We will just leave it as answer, because this will mess up with our database. Let me just have an initial value of an empty string, and in here we will go to the submit once again. So here's the handle submit. We do need to pass some things as a parameter for that form. So what we're gonna do, let me just write it as a function. So I'm just going to pass this event, and in here this is how you can provide a parameter for this handle post answer. You have to pass, if you want to pass a parameter for a submit or a event handler function, if you are assigning any function to this event handler, if you want to pass any parameter, you have to do something like this. We have to write an arrow function in here to pass the values. Here I have to pass the event as well as question dot answer dot length. So this is going to be it, question dot answer dot length, and in here we will have an on change. This is going to be equals to an event, which is going to be passed to set answer, which is going to be e dot target dot value. So this is the same thing we have used earlier. It's the same thing. Now we will write that handle post answer. So let me just change this to handle post answer, which is kind of weird to have. POS. So let me just have T here also. So in here I'm just getting E and number of answer length as parameter. So in here we will just say first E dot prevent defaults, which is the default thing which we do for a form in React. So the next thing we will just see if the user is null, we couldn't allow them to answer, so we will check first the user. So first we have to declare this user variable. So in here I can just declare the const user, user is gonna be like equals to use selector, which is gonna be have a state which in turn may equals to another state dot current user. I think so, I believe it is current user red user. Yeah, it is current user red user. So since we are using user value in many places, that's why we have pushed this value to the uh, Redux, so we can access it from anywhere in the application. So first we will check as the user exists. If he exists, we will alert the. If he didn't exist, we will alert as login or sign up to answer a question. So and then we will just navigate in to the authentication page, which is going to be /auth. So I think we have to import this navigate from Redux. I believe this is going to be use navigate. So this navigate is going to be declared in here. I have to create const navigate is going to be equals to use navigate. So that's it. So now after providing this, we will just say else. We will write an else part, and in the else part we have to check is an answer has been provided. So we'll just have another if condition. We will just say if this answer triple equals, if it not equals, if it not equals an empty string, then we're just going to have alert enter an answer before submitting, and that's it. Here we will write an else part. In that we will just dispatch that specific action which we have done earlier. So we would like to dispatch, I think we have to import dispatch. So we will just go ahead in here, we'll just say, we'll just go ahead and import use dispatch. So first in here I'm just going to have const dispatch is 1 equals to use dispatch, and then now we can dispatch that action. We do need to import that specific action. So import post answer, this is going to be from dot slash actions slash questions. So this is not a default export, so we're just going to have a curly brace. So we will pass this post answer. So post answer, and the value which we are going to pass is nothing but an object with the id number of answers as answer length, and then sorry, we have to pass +1. This is because we're just posing a new answer. In the answer body as answer, because that's how we do need to have. So that's how we have in the front end. We're just going to rename that, and the user answer, so is nothing but only equal to user dot results dot name. So now with that we do have everything set. Now we can post a answer. So now we will go to the front end. So actually this is a question posted by me. No one wants to post answer to their question specifically, so we're just going to open another browser like Safari. In here I'm just going to create another account, just going to log in as Kumar, and the email is going to be like kumar@gmail.com, and as well the password is also be like Kumar, and we're just going to sign up. We'll give a not now. So you can see here it remains this has to be K. So this is because I have done an error in the UI part. There's a bug. I didn't change this value because I have left it with the hard-coded value. So we'll first go to that specific area. We have to go to the navbar first, and in this navbar, if you can locate that avatar which is here, and the value which was passed to it is nothing but em in here, but what we gonna need is user dot result dot name dot char at is nothing but to locate a specific key in that string. So I'm just going to get the lines index of the zeroth position, which is nothing but the first letter, and I'm just going to say to uppercase. I believe it is to uppercase. This is going to be change the first letter to the capital letter. So if we go here, it must be K, because the first letter is nothing but K of Kumar. So now we are in here. We will go to this first function. In here we would like to post an answer. So we will just say this is an answer like so, and we would like to post a new answer. It shows enter an answer before submitting, which means we have done some errors. We have missed something, I think so, but wait, let me just do another time. And so we'll just post. So it shows enter an answer before submitting in here also, which means we have done an error somewhere. We will go here, we will go to the form. So here is the form. We have set the value correctly on change. So it is like here I have missed an error. It is like triple equals, if it equals to an empty string, we have to throw alert, or else we have to continue. I have missed a logic. So we will go to the second browser. We have logged in as Kumar in here. In this account Chrome, we are inside as Manoj Kumar. So Here let me just post like this is an answer. Let me post my answer. So nothing happens here, nothing happens in here too. Let me just go to the database and we will check is there any answer for this first question. We will refresh first. So you can see here is an array which has an object. In that object we do have a new answer. So you can see here is an answer for this question. It has been updated in the database. So now how would we display it in here? We have made an error. There is a bug, I think so, in the display answer page. It could be here because in here we do have the answer ID as well. In here the user answer, everything is the same, but user answered on is the same thing, and the answer body is also the same thing. So first we would like to refresh the page. So here we go, we do have one answer as well as this is an answer, this is the body of the answer part, as well as sorry, here is the person who has answered. So this question is asked by Manoj Kumar, but the answer was answered by Kumar, and here's the time when he has answered, and here is the functionalities. We didn't make it functional, that's why it also shows a delete for a Manoj Kumar's account. It shows like a delete function for a question which was answered by Kumar. So in here let me just make this as a capital thing. So we'll go here, we'll just come down. So here is that value, I think so. So now it has been changed. We will just change it to a newer one, but the function the thing is that we don't want to refresh this page. So how we can make that thing? So to do that, we will go to the reader, sorry, the actions, that questions. Here we have fetched all the questions as well. We have fetched the new question, but in here the value didn't change automatically. So let me just answer again. So let me just refresh. So here's a new answer. Here is a new answer. So far nothing happened. If we refresh, so here's a new answer. So first we will check. So you can see it has been also updated the values as well, which is a nice thing to hear. So now we will check first in the are we receiving the new answer from the database. We will check first. So to do that, we will go here and we will just console log the new question list. We'll just say console.log of question list. So we have done that, and we will go here and we will go to another question. We will go to the second question. We will type something and we will just do an enter. So now I have posted my answer. I think so I have done it twice. So now in here, let me just go to the second question. Here we will go to the inspect element, go to the console log. In here we got a new object. Here we have to go to the second question. I think so. So here is the new question, and here we have nothing in the array. We will go here, we will get the second question. In here we got nothing in the array. It means we are not posting the new we are not sending a new request to the backend to retrieve all the data. So that's what it means. So I'll fix this issue and let you know in the next lecture. Thank you.